Hey everybody, it's Noah from Button Presser Reviews. I think I've settled on that name as of the time of recording. Today I want to talk about the Hori Octa Commander Xbox version. I've had this controller for a few years. As you can see, it's kind of dirty. I did try to wipe it off and get some of the scum off of it, but I've really enjoyed this controller and I wanted to tell people about it, people that don't know about it and might want to use it in the future. First off, let's talk about the overall feel and shape. The feel for this controller is fantastic in my opinion. The weight is good. It's about a half pound or 230 grams, I think they say in the manual. So nearly exactly a half pound. It's a little weighted towards the front with the wire being non-detachable, and I guess the components are probably weighted towards the front too. Let's see. There's a couple screws here. I don't know what exactly that means, but it just has this feeling that you're kind of tilting forward, but if you give it a good firm grip, it really doesn't matter. You're kind of not loosey-gooseying it when you're playing anyway. The buttons feel sturdy. Everything feels like you might hear this slight noise. That's not really the buttons shifting too much. It's more the fact that they're tactile. Everything feels sturdy, well made. It is light, but that doesn't necessarily mean that it's a bad thing. The shape is fantastic. Also, you can see there is a fat grip here with a really nice kind of swing in and a divot in here for you to rest your fingers on, your pointer fingers most likely, or maybe your middle fingers if you're using the triggers. It kind of reminds me of a DualShock. I have a DualShock 4 next to me somewhere, and it reminded me a lot of that. Not necessarily... the DualShock was more uniform, where this one's more exaggerated, but I really do like this feel. I'd like to talk about the D-pad first of all the different buttons, and I think this D-pad is just stellar. I think it's a Sega style if I remember correctly, and it has this circular kind of shape to it. Even though it's supposed to be a directional pad, there's a kind of an 8-way feel to it. So that means your diagonals are also a button, or kind of like something you can press rather than pressing both the left and the down, or like the right and the down, or so on and so forth. This thing is awesome. It's so sturdy, in fact, like still using it, that sometimes my thumbs get a little tired after using it for a while, like in a fighting game. If I'm playing like some intense sessions of like Street Fighter or something, it gets a little tired. However, that just speaks to kind of the kind of like the tension that there is there. It's really nice. I noticed that sometimes this is probably just a skill issue, but if I get too loose with my kind of inputs, it has a hard time reading at least Z inputs, so Shoryukens or Dragon Punches. That being said, if you just kind of exaggerate your motions, like maybe that's why my thumb gets tired, is because I'm kind of just like really going for it. It won't miss input. It's solid. Let's see. The face buttons. Face buttons are definitely what I want to talk about next. As you can see, it's a 6-face button front. It is Xbox style, so A, X, Y, B, A, B, X, A, B, Y, X. And these are the right trigger and right bumper, which would normally be up here. That being said, let's talk about that really quick. This is the left trigger, left bumper, and then the left stick button and right stick button. This is also a left stick button. So there's 2 of them. Back to the face buttons though. The tactile feeling of these things is incredible. Like, I'm gonna hold it up to the microphone, so it's gonna be out of frame for a second, but it sounds like clicking a mouse. And I think, if I remember correctly, they are mouse switches, which is why it sounds like that. Sorry, I'm looking up at my notes right now. I'm still kind of trying to get the flow of this whole thing. The 6 buttons is 6 buttons are fantastic. They all feel great. This one kind of hangs off the edges, you can see. It's kind of like you can see the whole button, but it doesn't feel weird when you're using it, especially when you do an overhang grip like I do. It doesn't really have a feeling of being awkward or out of place. And also, I never really thought about this, but the buttons kind of do that view licks thing, where they kind of curve off, which I do like. I think that's nice. Kind of fits the natural shape of your hand if you're doing this whole thing. Even if you're not, it kind of arcs it for your thumb, so you're not reaching all the way up. Like I said, they're very tactile. They're easy to tell when you've inputted something. It's impossible not to tell when you can hear it, which is a plus for some people, negative for others. If you're trying to be very quiet, it is quite loud. The other middle buttons in here, let's talk about those for a second. I believe this is the view button. I don't know what that means, but I saw it in the manual. The share button, the start or like hamburger menu, and nope, I've seen it called that before. The Xbox guide, or like the Xbox bar menu, I think, because this is the Xbox version. You can use it on the console and in PC. There is the profile switcher, the mute and unmute button, and then this audio button. I did not know what this was for, really. You can apparently use the D-pad and your little audio button to switch mic volume and also game volume, like more mic, more game sort of thing. I don't remember if it's left and right like that, but I thought that was pretty cool. I don't use a lot of these middle buttons because I just kind of plug and play in fighting games, like my PC fighting games. I feel like a lot of these would be very helpful for console users. The profile and profile switcher is really nice. I have used that a couple times for switching between like PC and like Switch when I have one of those adapters that allows you to play with fighting game controllers on Switch. There's 4 different customizable profiles, and each LED color will represent that. I think it's red, green, blue, and white, if I remember correctly, and not in that order necessarily, but you can click between them very easily and just switch on the go. I think next I want to talk about the shoulders. The shoulders are nice to the touch, but the tactile feeling, or like the kind of button press feeling, is a little different from the nice face button switches. These are a little more kind of clocky, like clacky, chalky. I think that's something I've heard a keyboard reviewers say. It's kind of got this chunkier feeling, and I don't necessarily like the trigger feel. It has this odd shape and this lip back here. You can see that it doesn't go back, so it's kind of just like a button press, not kind of like hanging back and using that analog feel. I do like using it on the right side. I notice I don't like using it on the left side at all. And what I was trying to think of just now was they have the side input sort of thing instead of like the back input on there, or like the direct down on the bumper. They have like these side inputs, and I kind of not a fan of that. But yeah, the right side's not too terribly bad when you're kind of using this whole side, but the left side I'm not a big fan of, especially with this back trigger. And I noticed that it's got an uncomfortable feeling where your fingers sit right in between them. This is a little too far forward, and this is a little too far back. But overall, not a horrible thing. It could be a deal breaker if you're using the triggers all the time for maybe like macros in fighting games, like not macros, like in-game macros, like the dash button and strive and all that. And I think that leaves the analog stick, if I remember correctly. The stick is snappy. It's got great tension. You can definitely, like, if you're playing Mario, you could make him walk very slight. You could make him run very easily. It's got this 8-way gate, kind of like the GameCube did, but I believe this is true analog, meaning it's not an 8-way direction stick. You know, I'm actually not sure about that. I'm gonna actually pull up the manual really quick and see what they call it. It's just called a left stick, and it doesn't say much else. I would be hesitant to say that they're gonna do just a directional stick in this, in however old this thing is, maybe 4 years ago. But it could be, but I feel like it's an analog stick, like a full analog. And then I guess the wire is non-detachable here. However, there is this thing they call the quick release, which is this. And that's so that you don't yank something out of your console or your computer. You can see kind of the dongle end. I know dongle means like wireless, but I'm not really sure what to call this. End is pretty fat, so it kind of sticks out, which is good that they have the quick release. And this dimple shows you where to put the USB. I use that successfully every time, so it's actually quite helpful. One of the things I wanted to do with my reviews is kind of give context and use cases for these controllers and what you might use them for, or what I use them for at least, and how I think other people could use them. For this controller in particular, use case definitely is fighting games, arcade games, beat 'em ups, platformers, that sort of thing. I've used this for Virtua Fighter 5, Guilty Gear Strive, Guilty Gear Plus R, Street Fighter 6, Street Fighter 3rd Strike, platform fighters including Rivals of Aether 2 and Brawlhalla. And there was one other game I was thinking of just now. I don't know. I have them written down. I think I might have forgotten one, but there's a lot of good games to use this for. Games that are really benefit from using this type of controller with the 6-face buttons. VF5, I use this for punch, kick, guard, and punch, kick, guard as the all button. And Guilty Gear, this is like, I'm trying to think, punch, kick, slash, heavy slash, dust. And this I believe was like for roaming canceling or for bursting. I don't remember which one I did. And then actually that was the one where I used the trigger for dashing. I thought that was very nice actually, that you could use the stick press for that. Street Fighter, obviously light, medium, heavy. Throw, 6 was like, what is this? DI or Drive Rush DI. And then I was thinking of 5 for a second. I did use this for 5 if I remember correctly, so it's actually been quite a while since I've had this thing. And then platform fighters like Rivals of Aether, this was jump, normal, heavy, and special, I believe. Plus like these ones I would use for parries and spot dodges. I believe like a dodge button and a parry button. And then there's one other thing you could do, I think. Oh, grabs, but I put that to a trigger. I had another thought just now, but the stick, I kind of said how nice it was, but I didn't say that I don't use it very often because the D-pad is so nice, and I'm a D-pad user for fighting games. However, this is very good for arcade games, and also kind of like if you're having trouble really nailing those special inputs, try using the D-pad. It's really good. Sorry, I know I kind of just switched back to that topic, but it's really quite nice to have this Octa gate on here, kind of like an arcade stick or like a GameCube. And you can actually press this in. I think I said that before. But back to the use cases, this is great for fighting games. I think arcade games really benefit from this stick, even though arcade games like like an arcade machine game, you're not gonna need to use all 6 buttons most of the time. However, there are definitely some buttons some games like the beat 'em ups that'll use those. I use this in 2D fighters, obviously, and VF5. I was surprised that I wanted to use this, but I really liked the way that this layout felt, and the D-pad is just so nice. I use for 3D fighters, I use a DualShock 4 for context. I guess now I just have to say, do I like it and would I recommend it? The answer is yes. Obviously, I would say that I like this a lot, and I would easily recommend this. And in fact, there's actually new versions, like a PlayStation version, and an Elite or like a Pro version. I think I don't know what they call it. I can edit that in, but I would say this is absolutely worth it. It was about $50 when I bought it, 50 US, and I think it's still around that price, and I think it's absolutely worth it. So, oh, and another little small detail is the cable is 3 meters long. I remember writing that down because I thought that was a pretty nice length for a cable. It is plenty for a computer user. I'm not sure about console. I think that'd still be pretty good. But yeah, this is the Hori Octa Commander Xbox version. I'm Noah from Button Presser Reviews. Like I said, hopefully that's the name I settled on at the time of the review, and I'm pretty sure it is, because there's buttons to be pressed and controllers to be reviewed, as well as other hardware in the future. So thank you so much, and I will talk to you guys later with another review.